Dennis Foster here, Focused Outdoor Promotions. As you can tell, we're in the middle of another blustery, blizzardy day here in northeast South Dakota. Has driven us inside the lodge, but that's all right. We have a trip to prepare for on Lake Erie, Western Basin. Big walleyes. It's an exciting place to be this time of year. A lot of plug pulling going on, a little bit of spinners, you name it. We're going to play with a lot of different presentations while we're out there. Stay tuned for all the action. We're going to document it through Focus Outdoors TV and through the pages of Midwest Hunting and Fishing Magazine. Well, last day of prep before our spring fishing trip to Lake Erie. You'll see here in a second what we're dealing with in South Dakota. Out here on Lake Erie, Put-in Bay, specifically on South Bass Island. We have to be fortunate enough to be the host of Island Club charters. Greater Lake Erie Shores and Islands take great care of us as well too. Keeps us coming back here. Obviously the huge fish is a big draw for us. We've got a brand new boat here. Big fan of these and big water. Not only that, they're also good in some of these smaller lakes. The guy overlooks that. They don't draft that deeply. They sit down nice and low in the water. When we brought our equipment up to fill this boat up, I had the bottom of a 16-foot enclosed trailer covered. Boxes, all kinds of stuff. For example, crank caddy boxes, galore, so forth. Everybody was a little skeptical about what I was doing. We've got every bit of it in here. But we're late in the day here. We're going to fish close to the islands, get a feel for things, make sure everything's working, hopefully catch a few fish, get a good supper, good night's sleep, and we should be swinging hard in the morning. Picked up our first fish of the day. Nothing terribly huge, but by God, we got one in the net. This come on a reef runner, kind of a crazy purple, white, green color, but got a good start here. Hopefully we can put another dozen or so of these, only bigger, in the box. Okay, we got two fish going here. We're kind of on some males here. Well, this might be a small female. I take that back. Well, we're having kind of a tough day on Lake Erie. We come there with a huge fish, but we're catching some of the males here, which is fine. We'll get supper out of it. We had kind of a little mini front come through here, had the wind completely switch on us, but maybe we're gonna figure something out here. We've slowed down considerably. We're down to 1-1. Just got missed one, just playing with a board, and then just picked this little guy up. Well, folks, we've wrapped up our first couple days of walleye fishing out here in the western basin of Lake Erie. We've had some fair fishing, could have been better. Didn't catch a lot of the 28 to 30 inch and a little bit above fish that we'd like to. A lot of dirty water that we dealt with, but we can deal with that once we find clean water. Right now, we've been kind of forced into a rain delay. We've got a couple days of heavy rain and temps in the 40s, winds in the 20s, so not real conducive to even getting out. But it's given us the option to rest, reflect, and regroup here, plan our strategies for the last few days of our fishing, which the weather sounds to be fantastic at this point. With that, these water temps are like 40 to 42 degrees, and these fish are a little sluggish yet. Everything that we have caught so far has been pre-spawn, and even to the point where they're not even fully developed eggs. So we need very slow presentations. Crankbait presentations are key here early on Lake Erie, but you want to pull the thing slow. We're talking anywhere from a mile an hour, perhaps a little bit less, on up to maybe 1.2 to 1.4. Crankbait selection. Reef runners have ruled out here for many, many years. They're actually developed by Scott Staker. I can reach my arm and point over to Marblehead from where we're at, where he has his business located. And they were developed on this lake. They work all over, but the key to them is it's more of a banana bait, and they've got a nice little kick, even at slow speed. So we're barely moving these plugs, but they're kicking back and forth, and that's the key to getting bit, particularly in some of this stained water. There's been a lot of, I shouldn't say imitators, but lures that have been made that are very similar. People learn the lesson of what works. Bandits work, bombers, deep down husky jerks are probably three of the more popular ones. But if you stick with that genre of bait, go with some bolder colors, you should be all right. There's a lot of guys out here more than willing to share information. The body of water is absolutely massive. You don't have to worry about getting in somebody's so-called spot. So that being said, stick with us. We're going to go out 2 more days, perhaps 3, depending on what we get for fish. We're going to find some good ones to show you, and stay tuned.
High Point Pet Foods presents Country Creations Dog Foods, offering quality nutrition for the life of your canine companion. To fuel the fire of puppyhood into keeping the energy level high of an active young dog, optimizing the performance of the hard-charging adult, or having a quality diet for your senior canine companion. Country Creations has you covered with their quality formulas. Get in touch with High Point Pet Foods today. Midwest Gun Dog Kennels is your full-time gun dog training facility. For over 30 years, we have customized our training to fit each individual gun dog. We know it takes a well-trained gun dog to handle wild birds. Make every hunting trip a dream trip. Let Midwest Gun Dog Kennels put excitement back into your hunt of a lifetime. Midwest Gun Dog Kennels, where experience equals excellence.
managed to get our first fish of the day here. We're in some pretty tough conditions. We've had some varying weather with fronts and so forth coming through. Pretty good wind. We're actually hiding from it on the west side of South Bass Island here. Water's quite dirty. We're running really gaudy colored plugs to do it. Catching some of these smaller males. We're going to keep sorting through, hopping around, see if we can't find a spot that's got a few females that'll go, but this one will darn sure eat. Well, we got our camera lady reeling in a fish on a flat line that we were discussing earlier. There seems to be something to that. It's fairly rough out here. The surging of the boards may just have been a little bit much. These fish aren't exactly super active right now. So we think we're getting into a little better program here. There, we got control. Perfect, perfect. Uh-oh. Get in there! Ha ha! Good job, Val. And
nice one.
very nice one. Credit where credit is due. Val picked the plug and he hit the fly, and we'll do a little discussion about that once we get her out of there. Very, very nice, Val. Very perfect. I'm going to take a little minute here and discuss our setup, how Val pulled this fish. As I'd mentioned, she had went through a box of 100 plugs, found her favorite color here. It's purple. Purples are very big on Erie, a good color at all times, and particularly now, that's everything we're hearing as far as the reports are purples. So we went with that, but the most interesting part of this is something that I play with a little bit at home on Lake Oahe with a bit smaller flies, because our fish aren't this big on average. But I went to a pike type fly, went with the purple and a little contrasting yellow on the tail of it there, and just tied it on some 15-pound line here, ran it back about 18 inches. And a lot of these fish, you know, we're thinking they're not terribly active, maybe hitting short. And you know, he come up, he may not have taken that plug. He went and grabbed the fly here. There's days on Oahe, literally 80–90% of the fish would come on a fly on tough days. So we're monkeying around with it here. We lost a really good fish. I actually broke the line off. I went to a heavier leader. I had a 10. I actually broke the doggone line a couple days ago. So now we got a little more confidence in this. We're going to run some more. To finish the setup, a very typical setup on Lake Erie is 10-pound monofilament. XT has always been kind of the leader as far as the amount of line that's used. And we're running them on St. Croix Icon rods using Okuma cold water reels, which are very smooth. Real easy setup. Just go to your trolling Bible. There's a nice app for that. Find your feet back on your different plugs. Obviously pay attention to your locators. In this case, I'm running Garmin this year. Very happy to be with them. Checking out the live scope stuff. It's all new, exciting technology, but the big thing is just be confident in your setups and keep going. Eventually you'll find these fish. Well, something I just alluded to in the last fish we caught is colors. So we sent this plug right back out. We ran up to make another pass, and it's picked up another one. So what we're probably going to do is we will look for another plug just like this. And even our other brands of lures, we'll look for very similar color schemes on them. So we may finally be getting something dialed in here. We're sharing some information with some other guys out of South and North Dakota, and they're spanking them. What did you say they had, Chris? 330s, some 25s, and a 31-inch. So they're on them. We're actually, we're not too darn proud to take the info. They're a little bit west and north of us, and that's where we're just gonna pull over to and see if we can't get into some of these better fish. Ooh, I'm getting nervous. You know, so I'm checking my drag here too, so when I get hooked up direct with the fish, I know he's got some slip if he needs it. Locationally wise, we're out at the Bass Islands, and we're staying on South Bass, and we're actually a little bit above Middle Bass, right on the Canadian line. And this fish, oh my God. I tell you, this is why a guy keeps doing it even when you get old. Oh boy, that's why. Okay, we got a sideways hook fish here, which explains the difficulty. Beam into Chris there, good job. Well, that's about a third the size I thought we had. But it's a fish nonetheless. All right, that turned out to be a little I'd like to take a moment here to pass along a little trip tip. If you're planning a trip out to the western basin of Lake Erie, April's typically the time frame, and that's when these guys are getting all of these big fish, a lot of 28 to 30 inch, sometimes even better, female walleyes. And looking for accommodations, you may want to consider coming out to South Bass Island. I stayed on the mainland, as I'm looking over pointing at it, for many, many years when I'd come out here. I was always curious about the islands, and finally came out last year via Island Club Rentals. I work with those fellas. They provide our accommodations, very generous to us. But the key to being out here is we don't have to pass through this huge expanse to get out, where much of the fishing is surrounding the islands in all directions. And then also, being we have wind issues on such a big body of water, the islands provide protection. So we can put in a nice put-in bay, which is very protected, slip around an island on the downwind side, be completely out of the wind, and it's great. On an ancillary note, the island is absolutely beautiful. There's a ton of history here. There's the Admiral Perry Tower. I could go on and on and on. A quick Google search and you can find it all yourself, but it's darn sure a destination that you're gonna wanna consider. And like I say, I work with the folks at Island Club Rentals. They've got a ton of fishing houses available, set up just for fishermen.
Midwest Gun Dog Kennels is your full-time gun dog training facility. For over 30 years, we have customized our training to fit each individual gun dog. We know it takes a well-trained gun dog to handle wild birds. Make every hunting trip a dream trip. Let Midwest Gun Dog Kennels put excitement back into your hunt of a lifetime. Midwest Gun Dog Kennels, where experience equals excellence.
Make your next day on the water even better with Airwave Pedestal, the only air suspension system that can be custom adjusted to the weight of the rider. No unreliable springs, no oil-filled shocks to leak. Our patented design utilizes a two-stage suspension system to smooth out the roughest ride, while limiting travel to an industry-leading 2 inches. This boating season, enjoy your time on the water to the fullest. Find out how at airwavepedestal.com.
This one will definitely hit the pan. We'll find some bigger girls, we'll let those go, but we'll turn around, we'll get this back out, and we'll continue this in quest of a good one. So we just got that other fish in. It was on an inside line on a board. I pulled the other inside line on a board. We're going to totally replicate everything we're doing here, right down to the rods and the reels, and the lure, of course, is what got bit. On the rod and reel setup, I run Okuma cold water reels. Very accurate, very dependable. The darn things always count your line out. They don't trip and goof up there. As you can see, easy enough to get right back to my 66 foot. Run St. Croix rods, have for many, many years. Best rods on earth, believe it, folks, they are. We got another bite. I'm gonna get this thing boarded up and take the other fish, and hopefully this is a better one. Flip her up here. Now we're getting back in to the 28-inch type stuff that we want. That's a good 28-inch fish. I'll throw her in the well for now, maybe get some stills. We're gonna reset our lines, give her a good measurement. Big thing is I wanna reset these lines. We're on to something here, folks. We wanna capitalize on it. This may be our last day. They're talking wind tomorrow, so by God, we're gonna get what we can get. Stick around, see what we come up with. Perfect. What do you think of fishing Lake Erie now, Val?
I like it a lot.
Okay, great. What we'll do is we're going to put that in the live well for a second. We're going to reset our lines or make a decision here, and then get a few picks. But crazy how it goes. I mean, sometimes there's luck involved. We were literally pulling our lines. I looked back and thought, there's a board dragging. So
awesome. Good
enough on a fresh lure change too. We went from purples to kind of yellow polka dotty type stuff. You're going to sleep with that thing, aren't you? Hey folks, run out last morning here. We knew there was some weather brewing. Nothing on the screen when we ran out, got a fish close out of Put in Bay here. Got out, literally dropped the last line in the water, had a fish instantly, looked up, clouds brewing on the horizon. Come in for safety, caught the edge of it. Hopefully it's gonna blow by, but just the way it goes. I think we're gonna get on fish if we can get out. We're looking for some better fish. Let's see if we can make it happen. Run out, get a fish, run away from rain, run back out, get a fish instantly. Now we're just resetting here once again, looking for the better fish. Talking to a lot of the guys on the island here, they're running into the same thing. When they do have their good days, they're getting their limits of fish and maybe getting one good one. We're hoping that's going to change. Actually, even with these fronts, the conditions are improving. The water's warming slightly, and the water's also clearing up quite a bit. With that said, we're going to get our last line in here, see if we can't scratch up a good one. Regardless, these 4 or 5 pound fish aren't a bad thing to have all day. He absolutely ate that reef runner. We ran out, got our line set, set the last one in the holder, went off, and then got run off by rain. But we got a little tangle here. We're gonna get her going and find a better fish. I'm thinking we maybe have a, yeah, there we finally got a better one. Get her in there. There you go, gotta lift up. There you go, good job. Perfect. These are what we've been looking for. I've had a good feeling about this morning. We're right at the end of one of our better passes numbers wise. Looking at the Garmin here, the mapping on these things are incredible. First year with them, very happy. But just a nice 28-inch type fish. We're gonna throw her in the well. We're not keeping these. We just want a few for some good pictures later. And I'm gonna keep the comments short because I want these lines out. We're gonna get some more. All right, folks, we're gonna wrap up this episode of Focus Outdoors TV. We got some big weather out there, 6 to 8 foot rollers. Very happy with the Lund 219 Pro VGL that I run. Got us in safely without even so much as a splash. Quick note, this is a great destination to come. Come with a 20-foot boat or bigger. Know how to run the darn thing. You'll be safe out there. If you're looking for information on the area, there's no better source than Lake Erie, Greater Shores and Islands. Talk to the folks, super people. They'll set you up with some good accommodations like we have with Island Club Rentals here. Get you the scoop on all the information, all the attractions in the area. I tell you, these people are fantastic. This is a fishing community early in the spring, a resort community after that. If you're looking to catch some big fish, do yourself a favor, get on out here. Thanks for staying tuned.
Diesel train rolls down the line as I'm headed for the land of corn and rye. There is a place I'm always satisfied, full of remedies to ease my worried mind, like pulling catfish on the banks of